Welcome back. It's still the newspaper review, and right now we're being joined by a legal practitioner, Barrister Fred Nzeako from Lagos. Good morning and welcome to the newspaper review.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to our dear viewers.
Yes, it's good to have you this morning. Barrister Fred, recently the federal government is considering taking away a subsidy from Nigeria come February 2022, and one of the palliatives or one of the recommendations that the government is considering is to pay 5,000 naira to about 30 million or 40 million Nigerians, even though it has been kicked against by the Nigerian Senate. What's your perspective on it?
In the first instance, government is really an amazing institution in Nigeria that the citizens really don't understand what they are doing, because government had earlier told Nigerians that there was no subsidy, but only for government to turn around and claim that there are subsidies in both in the energy sector, petroleum sector, and electricity sector. But be that as it may, if government has finally accepted and agreed that they are paying subsidy, the subsidy really does not affect the economy positively. And if government wants to obey the IMF advice and remove subsidy, government has a responsibility to put in place safety nets and safety valves that will ensure fair competition and ensure that the effect of total subsidy removal is not felt adversely. One of such safety valves should not be distribution of money, because that will just purely not achieve any purpose. Apart from inflationary trend that it will occasion, how are you sure about the integrity of such distribution? Because if government says they want to give 5,000 naira to 30 million Nigerians, how really does that work? Nigerians are not really persuaded by such antics. The same government that said they were going to create 774,000 jobs, 1,000 jobs per local government area in Nigeria, as we speak, that is still on paper. As we speak, even when government have made all manner of noise and made all manner of political capital out of it, we have not seen it in reality. No jobs created. And the electoral efforts made were not made with integrity. So we are really surprised at the way and manner the country is being run.
Okay.
What is important is to create the enabling environment. The people who should make things happen are not allowed. Let's take, for example, in the energy sector, the international organizations that have the capacity to handle our electricity and provide it at affordable rate to people are not allowed to come in. Instead, government has shared the various electricity zones to people who don't have the capacity and who don't have even the technical know-how. And that is why we are seeing where we are today. And in the energy sector, for example, this is the same government in the petroleum sector. This is the same government that promised Nigerians that they were going to build one refinery every 4 years. As we speak, not a single refinery has been built, apart from the private sector owned, driven by Dangote, and then other pockets of modular refineries that are yet to come on stream. So how really can Nigerians understand their government and support their government in their policies?
Okay, Barrister
because
Fred.
those policies are essentially not aimed at achieving the kind of results that Nigerians expect.
Okay,
so we are not really
Fred.
persuaded.
Barrister
We are
Fred.
not persuaded at all.
Sorry,
Yes.
let me butt in here a little. Now, what do you think should be the the most affordable way or the most acceptable way or the most creative way for the government, even though we're to remove the fuel subsidy, the creative way to remove it so it doesn't have a devastating impact on the Nigerian economy, given the fact that it's one of the mainstay of the Nigerian economy. And when issues about petrol or fuel is being negatively affected, it has a very, very high impact on the economy. And this doesn't augur well for the average Nigerian on the field or on the street. So what's the creative way do you think the government can handle this?
One of the most creative ways is to provide these products. And how do you provide these products? We have the crude. Encourage the refining capacity of Nigeria, domestic refining. If this is not rocket science, the government should, one, apart from the gigantic one being done by the private sector entrepreneur, the modular refinery licenses that we are giving should be encouraged to come on stream. And how do you encourage them? Remove NNPC, the government-owned energy corporation, which name has now been changed to whatever, I don't know. Remove them from being both player and the regulator. And once that is done, yes, government has signed the Petroleum Industry Governance Bill. To what extent is it being implemented? And one of the ways to implement it is to encourage domestic refining. Anything that we are doing in the energy sector, in petroleum sector that does not encourage enhanced domestic refining will not work because it has terrible impact on the economy in so many ways. It is one of the major reasons why the Naira is always on a free fall because the largest consumer of foreign exchange in Nigeria today is the government that is importing petroleum products. So we're no longer talking about the impact on employment and the rest of them, but the impact we are talking about now is on the supply, so that once the supply is adequate, the price will naturally begin to regulate. There are many bottlenecks that are pervading in the system and not allowing the modular refineries to come on stream. Government should study this and remove all the bottlenecks. The second major thing that they will do is not to share money, but to create that enabling environment for the private sector to operate. The hands of government in businesses are too many that even the ease of doing business that we continue to talk about is not available today. Ask the private entrepreneurs what they are going through. Then use that money to provide other facilities like the hospital, do the roads, and then enhance the education.
Okay, Barrister Fred.
Infrastructure and education.
Yes,
Once
Barrister
all that
Fred.
is done, you see that life will get a lot better for Nigerians.
Okay, before we leave this topic completely, you mentioned that you made a statement that the government should completely remove its hand. Don't you think if there is no regulatory authority, things are going to go off hand? And the playing field is going, if it's unregulated, it's not going to augur well, or there'll be maybe like local refineries that you're talking about will be shortchanged by foreign players who come in, and the local companies will be, be dominated by the capital chest that the foreign players will be bringing in.
The major problem we have in Nigeria today is that sometimes government behaves as if it does not know the difference between regulation and obstruction. What the government is doing is not regulation. They are obstructing businesses. And that confusion in their approach to regulation, it amounts to obstruction and amounts to disturbance in the free flow of businesses by the private entrepreneurs. That is very key. That is very critical, and government must understand it and take its hand away from obstruction and then go into real regulation. Regulation is good. No part of the economy should be left unregulated.
All right.
But regulation must not be confused with obstruction or obstruction to take over the process of regulation. What the government is doing today is obstruction of businesses and not regulation.
All right.
The people that you say they are operating illegally in the creeks, why not you bring them into operating legally, so that they will now contribute to the stock of petroleum products that are available to the people in Nigeria, instead of all this penchant for going to destroy all their efforts all in the name of regulation.
All right. Now, Barrister Fred, let's move away from that. Lately, the NSA report from Lagos, the panel brought out a report. Even though now the Lagos state government is currently still waiting for the white paper to emerge from the committee that was set up to go through the report. We've been sharing statements by the Minister Lai Mohammed, and we've been getting a response from the Nigerian Bar Association, even though they say this is somewhat immature. What's your take on it?
The import of this NSA thing is because it is predicated on the life of the future of Nigeria. The NSA protest was done by the youth, who are the leaders of tomorrow and the life of the continued existence of any country. Because any country that toys with its youth is invariably toying with its future. And that is why it is very important. Secondly, it is very obvious that Nigerian youths have been shortchanged by tagging them all manner of criminal appellations without by unnecessarily profiling the youth as criminals, and that is why they had to protest, and that protest was most welcome. Thirdly, the report of this NSA thing has come out, and shockingly to most people, it has opened up a can of worms which the government has been trying to cover up. Now, the white paper is being expected. The government is confused because the international community is interested because of the future of Nigeria, which is the youth are involved. Now, the government must come up with a white paper, a position, and we expect that a responsible government, both at state and federal level, across this whole federation, must take seriously the issues of the youth of the society.
Okay,
and of the
Barrister
country.
Fred, I need to butt in here again, please. Now, do remember that one of the arguments, or one of the point of argument being put forward by Mr. Mohammed was that the report was leaked. It didn't follow due process in the way it was supposed to be released. After the report was submitted to the government, there was supposed to be a procedure of the white paper before the final documentation come out. But before the white paper, it's already in public domain. As a lawyer, how did you see this?
Don't forget that the proceedings were conducted in the public. So whatever report that came out, a lot of members of the society who were interested and following the proceedings of that tribunal knew that the report would come out, and that most of the things that came out in that report were already in their minds. What the report now did was to harvest all the various opinions and bring the whole thing on in one paper. The statement by Lai Mohammed, to due respect to his office, is very embarrassing to the Nigerian state. Don't forget that this is a minister that says all manner of things against both the NSAS and against the report. So any other statement that he's making today about that report can be taken with a pinch of salt. He should not represent the position of government and see that as a personal opinion of Lai Mohammed, who has carved a niche for himself as a man that does not tell the public.
No, Barrister Fred, we must not speak. We must not attack the person of the minister. Let's handle the issue straightforward.
The issue we are talking about is that the statement by the minister was unbecoming.
Okay.
If he said that he did not follow due process, what is due process? There was a public hearing, and the report are now being released.
Okay.
What other due process is he talking about? The next thing is government should now come up with its position, and then begin to think about how to implement whatever that the recommendations of that report.
All right.
So we expected that Lai Mohammed should clap for that committee and then encourage other states to adopt that as a national working document on NSAS, because it's only Lagos State that have done a a comprehensive work that can be used as a signpost for other states and for the nation.
All right.
And instead of doing that, he is trying to undermine the integrity of that report.
All right.
So
thank you,
we are
Barrister.
not surprised.
Let's move away from that. All right, Barrister Nzeako. Lastly, the internally displaced persons in Borno State, Mr. Babangana Zulum, Professor Babangana Zulum, rather, is trying to resettle them, and December 31st or December is the deadline. He has been, working tirelessly trying to resettle the IDPs, given the fact that though lately we've seen that the government is really doing its best effort in bringing down terrorism in the country. And for a while now, we could see that there's some sort of sanity in the air. With regards to that, what's your perspective?
Well, the government of Borno State has been exasperated by the happenings within the four walls of that state with respect to the incidences of terrorism, banditry, and the rest of them. Now, the government wants to begin to resettle the people back to their homes.
Yeah.
But the critical question anybody will ask is, are the homes safe now? Are the people safe to go home? Has the terrorism been terminated or been technically defeated using the words of the federal government? To what extent have they defeated terrorism and made the homestead safe for the natives to go back to their various homes? These are the critical questions. The government may have been running out of funds to continue to keep the people in IDP camps. But essentially, the unfortunate aspect of it is that government has not been truthful, federal government, with respect to happenings in the security sector of the country. And the effect and the impact is what we are seeing today. The government is eager, the Borno State government is eager to resettle people in their various homes, but we will continue to ask the question, and the people themselves will continue to ask the question, is it safe to go home?
All right.
That is a critical question.
All right. Barrister Fred Nzeako is a lawyer from Lagos State who joins us this morning by a phone call. A lot of thanks to you for your time this morning, Barrister Fred.
Many thanks.